you didn't just leave a person. You left a story that had convinced you it was the only way you'd ever be loved. Maybe it started with charm and intensity. They made you feel special, chosen, finally seen. They said all the words you'd been waiting to hear. They studied your insecurities like a map and then promised to be the safe place that would finally heal them. Then slowly, everything flipped. The compliments started coming with conditions. If you disagreed, you were ungrateful. If you cried, you were too sensitive. If they hurt you, somehow it ended with you apologizing. You learned to scan their mood the second they walked into the room. You rehearsed every conversation in your head. You started hiding parts of yourself just to keep the peace. And when it finally ended, maybe with a dramatic discard, maybe with you crawling out on your hands and knees, you thought the worst was over. But now you find yourself living with echoes. You still hear their voice in your head. You still question whether it really was that bad. You still feel guilty for wanting distance, or for not forgiving and forgetting fast enough. If that's where you are, this video is for you. And if you haven't left yet, or you're not sure if you should, this is still for you. Clarity often comes in stages, not all at once. Just keep listening. You are not being dramatic. You are not broken beyond repair. You are going through a recovery process after narcissistic abuse. So, how do you start to rebuild? Take a breath here. What comes next is your practical guide. Think of narcissistic abuse recovery as a 4-stage roadmap. Before we walk it, let's name what you went through. Narcissistic gets thrown around online as an insult for anyone who is selfish or annoying. That's not what we're talking about. Narcissistic abuse is a pattern of manipulation and control used by someone with strong narcissistic traits or a diagnosable narcissistic personality disorder. It isn't one argument, one bad mood, or one mistake. It's an ongoing cycle that often includes idealization, putting you on a pedestal, love bombing, telling you that you're the only one who truly understands them. Devaluation, criticism, blame shifting, silent treatment, jealousy, emotional or financial control, slowly eroding your self-worth. Discard, abrupt withdrawal, cheating, abandonment, or acting as if you never mattered, sometimes followed by hoovering when they want something again. The abuse can be emotional, psychological, verbal, financial, sexual, and sometimes physical. What makes it so damaging is not just what they do, but what they make you believe about yourself. Over time, many survivors start to think, if I were better, they'd be kinder. Maybe I really am the problem. I can't trust my own memory or judgment. That isn't an accident. Systems of narcissistic abuse are designed, consciously or not, to keep you doubting yourself and dependent on them. You might recognize some of this. You constantly walked on eggshells, never sure what would set them off. Your reality got twisted. If you brought up something hurtful, they denied it, minimized it, or flipped it onto you. Your boundaries softened. You said yes to things your body wanted to scream no to. Your sense of self shrank until your main job became managing their feelings. Nothing about that makes you weak. Your brain and your body's alarm system were adapting to a high-risk emotional environment. When you live for a long time in a relationship where love and harm come from the same person, your system goes into chronic survival mode. The part of your brain that scans for danger stays on high alert. You become expert at reading micro-expressions, tones, and timing. You're not overreacting. You trained yourself to catch danger early. At the same time, the parts that handle long-term planning, clear thinking, and self-reflection can get exhausted. You may struggle to make decisions, remember details, or trust your own judgment. Your sense of self also takes a hit. We build our identity partly from how others respond to us. If the main person you're close to constantly criticizes, mocks, or blames you, your inner mirror cracks. So after leaving, or while still trapped, you're not just dealing with heartbreak. You're dealing with a shaken identity and a survival system that doesn't know the danger has changed yet. Recovery is not just move on. Recovery is teaching your body, brain, and story that a different life is possible. Here is the 4-stage roadmap. Stage 1, name the pattern. Stage 2, stabilize your alarm system. Stage 3, rebuild identity and boundaries. Stage 4, relearn safe connection. Stage 1, name the pattern. Your mind needs honest language. As long as you call what happened a rough patch or we were both toxic, your inner system will stay confused. This isn't about staying stuck in blame. It's about giving your experience a truthful label so healing can start. You can begin with one sentence in a journal. I was in a relationship where my feelings, needs, and reality were regularly dismissed, twisted, or used against me. That is emotional and psychological abuse. If narcissistic abuse feels too strong right now, you can ease into it. But avoid phrases that erase the harm. Try practical actions. Write a simple timeline of key moments: when the charm started, when criticism crept in, when you first felt unsafe, when you lost yourself, when you left or tried to leave. Describe a scene as if it happened to a friend and ask, what would I call this then? Talk to at least one trauma-informed person, a therapist, support group, or educated friend, who can say, yes, that was abuse, without minimizing. Naming is not revenge. It's orientation. It tells your mind, I wasn't overreacting. I was adapting. Stage 2, stabilize your alarm system. You cannot think your way out of survival mode. Your body has to feel, even a little, that you are safer now. Early in recovery, you might notice nightmares, flashbacks, or intrusive memories. Jumpiness or hypervigilance, checking your phone constantly, scanning rooms, bracing for criticism. Physical symptoms, stomach knots, headaches, tight jaw, trouble sleeping. Cravings for contact with the narcissistic person, even when you know they're harmful. This craving has a name: trauma bonding. It isn't love and it isn't weakness. It's a psychological attachment created by cycles of abuse and intermittent kindness. Your survival wiring got trained to chase the highs and endure the lows. Recognizing this can help you stop blaming yourself for missing someone who hurt you. Think of your internal threat detector like a smoke alarm that has been triggered too many times. Now it goes off at the smallest thing: raised voices, long pauses, certain words. Recovery is about recalibrating it, not removing it. You still need an alarm, it just doesn't need to scream 24/7. Science-backed ways to begin calming it. Create a predictable daily anchor. Same tea, same walk, same short breathing practice at set times. Your body loves routine. It whispers, we know what happens next. Use your senses to come back to the present. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 you can feel, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. Warm showers, weighted blankets, nature sounds, these tell your system, right now, I am here, not back there. Reduce fresh shocks. If possible, limit contact with the narcissistic person. Block, mute, or strictly control when and how you communicate. Repeated arguments or hoovering keep your stress response stuck on emergency. You can quietly tell yourself, my body is reacting to old danger. Right now I am in this room, on this date, in this moment. I am safe enough to breathe. Stage 3, rebuild identity and boundaries. Once your alarm system has even a little more space, you can start asking, who am I without their voice in my head? Imagine your identity like a house that someone else redecorated to their taste. They moved walls, painted over your favorite colors, threw away what mattered to you. Recovery is taking the keys back and slowly restoring the place to feel like yours again. Ask yourself, what did I enjoy before this relationship? Music, hobbies, friends, goals. Which of those could I try in a very small way again? What values really matter to me? Kindness, creativity, fairness, honesty, freedom, faith. In what ways did I regularly betray those values just to keep the peace? This is not for self-attack. It's for self-understanding. Boundaries are the locks and doors of that house. After narcissistic abuse, boundaries can feel terrifying because in the past, saying no came with punishments, rage, sulking, guilt trips, or abandonment. Now your job is to teach your system that healthy boundaries can coexist with safety. Start tiny, especially with people who are relatively safe. Answer messages when you have energy, not the second they arrive. Say, I need to think about that, instead of automatically saying yes. Practice phrases like, I'm not available then. I'm not comfortable discussing that. I'm going to step away from this conversation. If you must stay in limited contact with the narcissistic person, for co-parenting, work, or family, use flat, minimal responses. Share only logistics, not feelings. You no longer owe them access to your inner world. Stage 4. Relearn safe connection. One of the cruelest legacies of narcissistic abuse is that it can make every connection feel dangerous. You might think, I can't trust anyone. Everyone will turn into them eventually. I attract narcissists, I shouldn't date at all. These thoughts are understandable, but total isolation keeps your alarm system alone with its worst memories. The goal is not to jump into another intense relationship. The goal is to gather slow, gentle evidence that not everyone requires you to disappear. Real love will feel different than the narcissistic high. The old relationship was like a storm, intense, unpredictable, electric. Safe love feels more like steady ground beneath your feet. It may seem quiet at first, but quiet is where healing lives. Look for people who can disagree without shaming or mocking you, can apologize without turning the conversation into a performance about their guilt, respect your no without punishing you. Stay reasonably consistent, what they say and what they do mostly line up over time. Test connection in tiny ways. Share a small opinion and watch how they respond. Express a modest need and see if they try to meet it or at least respect it. Notice how your body feels with them. Do your shoulders drop a little, or do they tense? Remind yourself, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for people who don't need me to abandon myself to stay. Let's turn this roadmap into something you can carry in your mind. First, name it. Write one clear sentence about the pattern of abuse you endured, without softening it. Second, ground your alarm system. Choose one daily practice, breathing, movement, routine, sensory comfort, and repeat it until your body starts to recognize it. Third, reclaim your boundaries. Use at least one boundary sentence this week, even on a small issue. Fourth, reconnect with yourself. Do one thing tiny you would be proud of, listen to a song you love, walk somewhere you used to enjoy, pick up an old hobby for 10 minutes. Fifth, test safe connection. Notice one person who treats your no or your feelings with respect, and let yourself feel how that difference lands in your body. You do not have to do everything at once. Tiny, repeated choices are what re-educate your survival wiring. Let's slow down for a moment. If this video is stirring a lot up in you, take a breath with me now. Inhale gently. Hold for a count of 3. Exhale slowly. You survived a relationship that tried to rewrite who you are. That alone proves your strength. Your sensitivity, your ability to read a room, your instinct to anticipate tension, those were tools that helped you survive. They are not flaws. Now they can become skills you use to protect yourself instead of only protect others. If this episode of Connect with Care helped you feel even a little more understood, you can write one sentence in the comments. I'm rebuilding after narcissistic abuse. You don't have to add anything else. That one line might be exactly what someone else needs to feel less alone. If you'd like more psychology-based guides like this, on gaslighting, love bombing, attachment, hypersexuality, digital intimacy, and trauma-informed relationships, like this video and subscribe to Connect with Care. This space exists so you don't have to untangle all of this by yourself. As we close, let these words land where they need to. You were not too much. You were not impossible to love. You were not hurt because you deserved it. You were hurt because someone else's emptiness demanded a mirror, not a partner. From here on, you are allowed to choose people who don't require you to disappear. You are allowed to take up space, to have needs, to say no. You are allowed to build a life that feels like steady ground, not a constant storm. You are not the broken story they left behind. You are the person who sees the pattern, who reaches for help, who chooses something different. This is your recovery. This is your reality. And you are allowed to protect it.